Good day, beautiful people. Welcome to Love and Law. I am Patricia Ames, your host. I am a licensed attorney in the states of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, and I have been for 17 years. I started my own firm almost a decade ago with one goal in mind, and that is to make the law accessible to people regardless of their financial circumstances. Because let's be real, legal help can be expensive. But what do I mean by that? I offer something called limited representation, which is a process whereby while I don't appear in court with you, I do your legal documents because that is what a judge or a judge's staff sees first. They read your legal documents ahead of court in order to get an idea of what your legal matter is about. And many times, they may already start to formulate an opinion based on that. So I do that. I give instructions about filing and how to present your case. So now, that aside, on this channel, I wanted to kind of broaden my scope. Now, it is important to remember I am only licensed in the states of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. I cannot give advice for other states in which I am not licensed. So please do not consider this legal advice. I am an attorney, but I am not your attorney. If you have a legal matter, you need to visit or schedule an appointment with an attorney in your state or in your area who can help you with your legal matter. What I'm doing is kind of just giving general information that may hopefully be helpful to someone out there. Now, the reason that I named this channel Love and Law is because I watch videos and I watch other content creators, and this isn't a criticism by any means. People have the right to present their channel the way that they want to. Sometimes I see a lot of content creators and they're giving opinions on other people's matters, but I don't really see a lot of love sometimes. So it is my goal to present information to people within as much love as I can. And sometimes it's tough love, right? Sometimes you might not like everything that I say, and that is okay. But I want to do this from an approach that you can listen, you can learn, you can take it in as much as you can, okay? And I'm just going to be breaking things down in plain English. All right. So, keep that in mind, keep the disclaimer in mind because different states have different laws, and so you absolutely need an attorney in your state to break things down for you. But this is general information. Some things that you may not know or you may not have thought of, and if you learn anything at all from this video, I am happy that you did. Please give it a like and subscribe and share. It's a brand new channel and it's my first video. Okay, so I want to comment on a video that I've seen going around the internet, making the rounds. There's a lot of criticism for this woman. In a way, I can sympathize because when I started my career as an attorney, I was a law clerk for a judge. And then from that, I moved into representing children who were abused or neglected or in the foster care system. And so when I watch other people and they're doing things or they've made mistakes that, I think to myself, well, there's no way that I would ever do that. I have to keep in mind that I was fortunate enough to be raised in a family with people who taught me values. I had two college educated parents, both of them were teachers, and teachers demand a lot of their kids, academically. And a grandmother and aunts and different support systems that taught me values, right? And for that, I am forever grateful when I think about it. And I think about the children that I represented early on in my career who literally didn't have parents, or if they had parents, they had negligent or abusive ones. Some of them were on drugs. Some of them taught them nothing. Some kids literally grew up in foster care or and switching from foster care, some in group homes where literally they're trying to keep a roof over the kids' heads and keep them fed. And, there may not be a lot of room for one-on-one guidance. Now, some maybe there are in other group homes, and God bless you if there are, but managing a home full of teenagers, etc., with different issues to maneuver, there may not be a lot of time for one-on-one guidance that your parents were able to give you. So I keep that in mind. And this is why, I want to give this woman some grace. Please do that in the comments. If you want to comment on the video, and let's get into it. I'm going to pause along the way and hopefully give some information that might be helpful. At least I hope so. Okay? So, without further ado, let's get in. Let's get into it.
It's a puppy, man. It don't work like that, man. I'm gonna take my stuff. Hey, I'm gonna take my stuff. Okay, I'm gonna need you to step outside. Let's see, now I'm gonna have to put you out if you're gonna keep doing that. You being evicted, you don't live here anymore. It's a tough situation, I know you don't understand, but as soon as I come here and do the eviction, you trespass. They need to put my shit in my car. Don't put my shit on the street. That's not how the eviction works, man. Who was the payment from? 901 Home, Shelby. 901. Shelby County 901. Shelby 901. When did you make payment on that? I did my application November the 14th, and they said that it's a process with it. And they said that they was gonna. That I think they sent the light bill the other day and said it was getting paid. So I'm guessing that the rent will be paid next.
I wanted to pause right there because she said something very important. Now, it sounds like there's either a charity or some kind of nonprofit organization that's helping her out with paying the rent. And that's fine. That happens I've known a few people that have had that kind of help. But she said something very important. She said they paid the light bill, so I'm guessing they're going to pay the rent next. There is no guessing. And the fact that the process server is there to evict you at this point, in some states it's going to be the sheriff. But in this state, it's the process server. The fact that they're there at your door to evict you means that the rent wasn't paid. You also can't guess. If you're in contact with a charity or some kind of nonprofit that's going to assist you with payment, you need to really be in contact with them. You need to get their email address. And I recommend an email address over a telephone call. You're going to be playing phone tag sometimes. You may not always be able to reach them by phone. And then also, there's no record of what you talk about on the phone. So, getting their email address is way more important. You should write to them and you should, first thank them because, gratitude gets you many places. Thank them first for their assistance and say to them, thank you for paying the electric bill. We really needed help with that. I wanted to know also, and I just want to be clear, is the rent also going to be paid? Because we're behind on that. I just want to get confirmation that the rent is also going to be paid. And hopefully they will reply to you. It's okay to follow up, maybe once a day. Don't do too much, or you can contact a supervisor if they're not getting back to you because maybe they're busy with other cases. But it is very important that you do that and that you get it in writing so that there is no guessing involved. Because by the time the process server is there, let me tell you, the rent has not been paid and it's not likely to be paid at this point. Not when the eviction has already gone through. Okay. So just keep that in mind if you are ever in this situation and you're going to a nonprofit for help or assistance.
Yeah. You trying to explain to me? Don't touch my stuff because I already got this handled with my rent getting paid. Okay, you need to call the court and don't get arrested in here trying to fight with us. I ain't gonna fight nobody. I got my kids here. Okay, this is what you gotta understand though. You gotta deal that with the court. Okay, I need the number. You trying to put it on me? I'm not. It's just waking up out of my sleep to this. Like I ain't know nothing about this. Right. Why can't they over here? Shut up. I need the number so I can let them know. Okay, call the number right there. Here's your docket number.
Okay, I want to pause here. Two things. One, he's showing her the docket number. That's very helpful of him. The issue is, you know, if you're going to be on top of an eviction that you're going through, you need to have your own paperwork handy. You also need to show up at the hearing, because what she's saying is she doesn't know anything about it, or, she thought it was handled. But the only way an eviction is going to be handled in your favor if you're the tenant is if you show up and there is some recording of a payment having been made and the eviction is withdrawn or dismissed. And only a judge can do that. Okay? So you need to know that that is occurring, but you can't know unless you're, in the actual courtroom. Okay? Or you get a document saying that it's been withdrawn or dismissed. But, you shouldn't take the landlord's word for it. You should make sure that you're getting that document directly from the court. Another thing, she's calling the court. The problem is you don't really, one, you're not going to be able to talk with anyone that's going to be able to do anything to stop what's happening. The only person with the power is the judge. A judge will not talk to you on the phone 9 times out of 10. If there is a judge in America that will talk with a tenant or any litigant on the phone, let me know. You deserve all praise, because they just won't do that. Not only that, it's actually unethical for them to do it. Judges are not supposed to engage in ex parte communications, and what that means is they can't talk to one side only. However, if there's a judge that's willing to get both sides on the phone, maybe the attorney for the landlord and the tenant. I mean, I've never come across that really, but then that is, a judge, I guess, that deserves all the praise, if they're willing to, take a phone call and work it out with the other party on the line. It's not something that I have ever seen. Okay. What I've seen is courts responding to filings. You have to get down to the court, put something on paper, an emergence order to show cause or something of that nature, whatever they call it in your state. An order to show cause or an emergency filing, an emergent filing, whatever it is. Speak with a lawyer in your area about whether that is even possible. Because again, it sounds like that ship has sailed. The process server is there. I'm not sure that there's much that you can do, at this point. But let's continue.
What judge do I ask for?
Yeah, like I said, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't know what judge you had. Just between you and the court.
So this is not a good sign. It doesn't sound like this lady went to court at all. She's saying, what judge do I ask for? It doesn't sound like she appeared in court or didn't know. And listen, I understand things happen. You may not always be available on the day of court, but if that is the case and you can't make it, a medical appointment, something, to take your kids, to the doctor or something like that, or an emergency, you have to make sure you put it in writing and request it. If it's the day of court, you need to call the judge's chambers that morning. Listen, I've had an emergency myself. I have a child myself. I had an emergency situation where I had to delay a court hearing, and the judge was giving me a hard time about it. And I said, I think that this is, unreasonably rigid. He was saying, unless you get here by 10, we're going to dismiss it. I said, I can't make it by 10. I'm 2 hours away. I can make it by 11. I left my child, to do this, even though there was an emergency. I'm going to ask that you reconsider. And they did reconsider. I made it by 11 and all was well. I mean, sometimes they can give you a hard time. It's very important. Keep your cool, be polite, but sometimes you have to be, firm about it. Like, I really would ask you to reconsider, because you can't plan for emergency circumstances, right? So the point is, if you're not going to be able to make a court hearing, you have to, request it, and in writing as well. I was emailing with the judge's secretary. So if you ever get court papers, eviction papers, you need to make sure you look up that information. Who's the secretary? What's the judge's name, the number, etc. Because if you have an emergency, the date of court, if you don't get in contact and get some confirmation in writing that they will postpone it for you, then you risk a default. A default basically means, well, that's what we call it where I practice. I'm not sure what they call it in other states. If they may call it something different, I'm not sure. But basically, you lose automatically if you don't show up. That's the long and short of it. Okay, let's continue.
Criminal case, traffic ticket, or citation, please press 2 and you will be transferred to the General Sessions Criminal Information Line. To hear information about your case, press 3. To hear information
What do I put?
or
Y'all,
That I can't tell you. That's just a number.
about garnishment, press 5. To hear information on records in the Shelby County General Sessions Civil Division, press 6. For office hours, mailing address, or web address, press 7. To hear satellite location
okay,
information,
I want to connect to.
to repeat this information, press 9. Press
Did you go to court?
No, because I had COVID.
about civil court case. You must either have a case number or a
So what happened when you told me you had COVID?
information about civil case or a detainer warrant. Press 1.
Okay, what do I
One,
put?
press one.
So she's saying she had COVID, and that's understandable. You don't want to be around people if you do, but you have to put that in writing to the court. A note from a doctor would be even better. I have COVID, it's contagious. I need to quarantine for 14 days or however long it is. And could you please, postpone or adjourn this date um, so that I can, be there in person? Or you can request, to appear by video if you have COVID, right? A lot of courts, are doing Zoom and, all the video things now. So you can request that too. That way you can appear, okay? Because if you don't appear, a lot of things are going to happen in your absence, and many of which you won't like.
Information about a case now in General Sessions.
You have to sit down.
Choose from one of the following.
You have to sit down.
Press 1. If your case begins with the letter C,
Okay, what does my case begin with?
if your case begins with the letter F, as in foxtrot, press 3.
I don't have
There's
no,
no
no
number.
letter.
X, as in X-ray, press 4. Press 9 to repeat this information. Press star to... If your case does not begin with any letters, press 1. If your case... Enter the numeric portion of the case number or detainer warrant number, followed by the pound sign.
Mom. Mom, let's say we're on holiday.
Right now is not the time.
9. If this is correct, press 1. If not,
It seems like she's frustrated, obviously, and maybe taking it out on the kids. Honestly, I don't even know if they're aware of what's happening right now. But, I do feel for them because if they are aware, it could be traumatizing, or if they look back on it, being displaced or maybe not even having a place to sleep at all, I'm sure has to be traumatizing for kids. This is why, if you are in a situation, you might not be able to make rent, you need to start immediately, you know, looking for help, assistance, nonprofit, family members, anywhere that you can, maybe borrow or get help to make up the rent. It it can be tough, especially if you lose your job, you don't have much savings, etc. But you do have to start planning early. um, a resource people might not like, if you have children, a resource people might not like, um, is that you have to find out in your state if CPS or DFACS or whatever they call it DCPP or um, CPS, CYS, Children and Youth Services, find out if they offer assistance. Some people don't like that option, and I get that. That's okay. But when I was doing abuse and neglect cases in New Jersey, they didn't only step in because of abuse and neglect. They would also step in for families that needed services. Sometimes it was families that had a really, really messy home, what they called a dirty house, clutter everywhere, and it was unsafe for the kids. And they would get someone in to clean it and, give them classes and whatever they needed for help with that. Um, some people didn't, have water running or help in the winter, and, they'd be ordered to pay that too. So, again, talk with an attorney in your state. Now, someone who preferably has done that area of law and they're familiar with the state agency. Because if the lawyer tells you, I work with this state agency, don't do it, it's just going to be, license for them to come into your home and try to place your children in foster care. And obviously you don't want that, then never mind, don't do it. Speak with a lawyer in your area. It is very important. Many lawyers offer free or maybe low cost consultations. Please take advantage of that, okay? If you can. It's very important. It is very important. You don't want to make the wrong move. Okay. I'm not going to do too much more than this, just another couple minutes. I think we get the drift, what's happening here. She's being evicted, but hopefully you got some helpful information about what to do if you're ever in this situation.
Please wait while we retrieve your information.
I done talked to the lawyers and everything.
Well, you need to call your lawyer then.
Now I'm talking about these rental people. I done talked to their lawyer and signed off the paperwork and everything. My rent is getting paid. The rent is getting paid.
This is going to be my last point in this video. The last point I'm going to make is only a judge has the power to do anything. You're talking to their attorney, but an attorney's job is not to do what's right, is not to do what you want, it's not to put you in a good position. It is to fulfill the wishes of their client. If their client is the landlord and the landlord wants to evict you for whatever reason, that is what the attorney is going to do. Regardless of if your rent is getting paid or not, and they know that that's coming, they will not go against the wishes of their client, especially if they're like a landlord and they get a lot of work from that particular landlord. They're not going to go against the wishes of your client. Also, the only thing that will do anything is a consent order or a consent agreement, whatever they call it in your state, that is in writing, signed by both parties, saying that we will accept the rent late because we understand that it's coming. We've gotten confirmation that it's coming, and we will be dismissing the eviction or withdrawing the eviction, and signed by a judge that says that you get to stay there. Okay? Because unless you have that, an order signed by a judge, an agreement in writing, you have nothing. So speaking with their attorney, unfortunately, that's not something that you can trust or hang your hat on. It's not going to do anything. An attorney can stay on the phone with you and listen, and at the end of the day, it will accomplish nothing. So I feel bad for this young lady and her kids, because I feel bad because it doesn't seem like she understands a lot about the process. And, unfortunately, many people don't. So I hope that, you got something out of this video, some better understanding. If you ever find yourself in this situation, I hope that you'll, take, some of these steps, speak with a lawyer, find out what your rights are. And most importantly, unless it's in writing, it didn't happen. I think that's the number one thing I want you to walk away from after watching this video. So thank you for watching. Like I said, if you got some valuable information or you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe, and tune in for more videos. Until then, I'm Trish, and thank you for watching Love and Law. Bye.